Hey everyone, the Talking Dads podcast is brought to you by Little Scholars Early Learning Center. Whether your family needs infant care, a preschool program, or before and after school care, Little Scholars' highly rated Step Up to Quality programs provide quality early childhood education at an affordable price. Visit www.littlescholars.net to get in contact with an enrollment specialist and schedule a tour of any of their 5 Lake County campuses. Here's the deal. Talking Dads fans are getting a little bonus. Mention that you heard about them through our podcast, and when you tour, and you'll receive $25 off of your registration fee. Again, that's Little Scholars Early Learning Center, where children learn, play, and grow together. We are also brought to you by Pub Fredo Gastropub. Pub Fredo was voted Best Gastropub in Cleveland in 2019 by Cleveland Magazine Silver Spoon Awards. We love Pub Fredo. Their menu is chef-inspired, always pushing the limits of traditional pub fare. The other night I had a burger, I believe it was called the Pub Burger. It was incredible. Cooked perfectly. It was amazing. And you won't have a problem pairing your favorite item on the menu with their great selection of local craft beers, crafted cocktails, and of course, an amazing bourbon and whiskey selection. I went with the Bullet 10-year with my Pub Burger. All of this in a cozy, fun, come-as-you-are atmosphere. You can check them out at pubfredo.com and on Facebook and Instagram at Pubfredo Gastropub. Hey, what's up, fellas? Thanks for tuning in to another episode of The Talking Dads. We are at episode 50. That's 50. And this one features our dude, Jay Cee. He is the author and creator of #DadSwag. We had a ton of fun. Freaking Zoom gave us some troubles in the beginning. But get through like the first 15 minutes and you'll hear some really good stuff. We talk sports, and then, of course, his journey and how he came to be in a position to start his own podcast. So that was pretty cool. Enjoy and tell your friends.
In a world where moms continue to dominate parenting authority and a father's role is minimized in society, two dads take on the toughest parenting topics on a weekly basis, all while drinking bourbon. They are the Talking Dads.
What's going on, brother?
What's up, man?
How you doing?
Good, man. It's good to connect.
Likewise, man. Likewise. Been a long time coming, I guess, right?
Yeah.
Sure.
It's been a few months. It's been a few months
definitely.
since you first reached out and everything, and that's cool.
Yeah, I guess I gotta adjust this real quick. Hold on. There we go. You see me?
Yeah.
Yep.
All right,
Good to go.
So
bro.
proper introductions, other than just like Instagram names. I'm Ian.
I'm
Yep.
Steve.
Jay Cee.
Jay
Jay
Cee.
Cee. Nice to meet you, man.
Yeah. Likewise, brother. Likewise. It's for me, definitely a pleasure and honor to actually be joining you guys. I think I not to dick rap, but I think I said in a message that in my fatherhood journey, I've always looked for information and education, and you guys are actually the very first podcast that I tuned into, and I started from episode 1 with the weird birth on the highway or whatever it was.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I guess it just went all the way down, man. So
That's awesome.
so I've been a fan for a long time, man. So this is definitely a pleasure for me.
That's so crazy, man. We started this thing like a year and a half ago, and we had no idea what we were doing. It was just kind of hey, we've been best friends since we were like 5 years old. We happen to have, we got married like within 6 months of each other, and then we had kids around the same time, and we were just hanging out one time. We're like, man, how can we spend more time, and so that way we can chill. And
Yeah.
it was
without the wives being mad.
right.
Exactly.
So we're like, we sit around, we talk about, what's going on with our kids anyway. Let's just start recording this shit. And it just kind of turned into this thing. And it's really, really cool for you to say that. And you actually tuned in because, we did this thing and most of it's all local still, right? We're in the Cleveland area, and that's where we get most of our hits from. And and people reach out and stuff like that. But then for you all the way out in the Bay Area, and you know what, actually, before we even continue, how we always start is we ask our guests to give a little dad profile, just a little bit about who you are, where you're from, and your kids and stuff like that, and that way we can get it going.
Yeah, no problem. Well, like I said, I'm Jay Cee. I'm the owner, founder, creator, whatever you want to call it, of hashtag Dad Swag. Oh, sorry, hold on. I have this pop up here. Gotta turn it off. Sorry about that.
You're good.
Yeah, I own hashtag Dad Swag on Instagram. It's called Dad Swag Podcast. Not officially yet, but I'm waiting until I hit a target number of followers and supporters to do so. But I have a 10-year-old and a 2-year-old. My 10-year-old is I call him my strength, right? Because so much history with him, just with his birth and you know who he is on a daily basis and the things he goes through. To quick backstory, my 10-year-old was born with TMD leukemia and Down syndrome, and he beat the leukemia, so that's why I call him my strength, right? You know, he's a fighter, you know. And my 2-year-old, and obviously Down syndrome, you don't get rid of, right? It's just something. Say he conquers Down syndrome every day. Something new every day. You know, if you look at his facial structure, if you look, you know, has Down syndrome right away until you maybe interact with them a little more. But other people who have children or know somebody affected with Down syndrome can kind of tell, you know, and kind of where my journey really starts when people start saying like, oh, does he have a, because I don't see it, you know, so it's kind of like, hey, you know, are you calling my son out? But, you know, it's like, no, it's natural, you know, to be curious. And then my second son, he's 2 years old. He's a firecracker, man. He's definitely, I don't want to say that he's my joy, but he definitely is, he's my tester, right? I mean, you know, where my eldest was really more subdued, obviously because of the, you know, his condition, or his ability. I call it his ability, not his disability, but because of his ability, you know, he was a little more mellow, real chill, right? Shit, man, I had my second one and it was right out the gates crazy, you know what I mean? like the kid is jumping off of shit all the day, climbing up the stairs, man. I'm like, damn, where did this come from? You know, I was kind of babied, you know, I was kind of sheltered, it feels like, because you know, my son, he's 10 years old. He got to be a baby for longer, you know what I mean? Like he needed me longer. This 2-year-old of mine, man, he hell on wheels, man. Like he don't need me, he don't want me. Like he wants me when he wants me, but other than that, man, he wakes up in the morning, does his thing. Like, you know, hey, you know, fix my coffee, you're good to go. You know what I mean? Like, you know, he's pretty soon he's going to college, bro. You know, it's crazy. You know? So, but yeah, so you know, I have where we live out here in the Bay Area. Sucks. I'm from here. I'm saying that, man. I'm telling you, like, everybody's trying to get the hell out of here. You know, I wish I could say better, because I love the Bay Area. I don't love what it's become. Let's just put it. Not to get into politics, you know, but I mean, people's rent, it's crazy, man. Like mortgage is insane, you know. Right. So hopefully my wife and I, we might make the transition to where the Raiders moved. So, you know,
there you go,
to Las Vegas or something, you know. But you know, yeah. So we're just, you know, we're trying to make it day by day, man. And my background is music. I was signed to Sony Records from the year 2006, right out of high school, to 2008. You know, I've done a lot, wrote for a lot of people, dealt with some country singers. You know, mainly that's my niche right now is country, because as an R&B singer, you know, I'm still telling stories, you know, and urban R&B isn't R&B what it used to be, you know. So you get people like Chris Stapleton, who are, you know, still telling stories, and Scotty McCreery, who are still telling stories, and Chris Young, who happens to be one of my favorite country singers. They're still singing about something. So I can write a story on paper and send it to one of them, and you know, you know, and then I don't have to be in the forefront, and my wife and my kids have to deal with being bombarded with that whole thing.
Yeah.
So I want to separate music from the dad side thing, you know.
Right.
I wanted to separate that entirely.
That's awesome. It cut out a little bit towards the end there, but I think we got the gist of that's pretty cool. I had no idea that
that's
you were in music and writing and all that kind of stuff. That's pretty awesome. And so kudos to you for doing a good job of separating that. And I think that's cool because you know this fatherhood thing is awesome, and it's exhausting, and it's trying and frustrating and all of that kind of stuff, but it's also super rewarding and a lot of fun. And one of the things that we liked when we started this was there was all these mom groups out there, and you know, you call them support groups, you call them fan clubs, whatever you want to call them. But you know, we're looking at it and they're like, man, these chicks are just drinking wine and talking about their kids. And I was like, we could do that. You know.
Hell yeah.
And at the time there wasn't a whole lot out there
No, I feel like in the last year, I feel like we've noticed a lot more. Maybe it's because we're looking into it a lot more. So
in a community.
Yeah, but Jay Cee, I gotta agree with you, man. On the I think it's the second child syndrome of just crazy kids. Like the second one is just like, I think it's how they say it. The first one is sweet and just helpful and great. The second one is just feral. Like they're just out of control. Mine is the same way. Ian's is the same way. Mine will push me. Like he's 2 years old. I went to his room the other night and he pushed me out. He said, "Get out of here." He shut the door behind me so he could go play with his toys instead of going to sleep. I'm like, no, that's not how it works. You're not pushing me out of the room.
Yeah. I
Yeah, exactly.
I think, yeah, man. You know, like I was saying, you know, in the moments where he really is testing the gangster, you know what I mean? I feel like the moments where he just wants to be that daddy's boy, where he just like crawls up in and like at the same time he just knows how to get out of that trouble. You know, I say he gets it from his mother because his mother does it all the time. You know, she'll get under my skin and then she'll do something sweet. I'm just like, damn, I can't be mad at you forever, you know. So silent treatment out the window now, you know. So
yeah.
You know, but I mean,
they're good at that. They know what they're doing, man.
Man, definitely must be have been in the womb the whole time, right? Right? They got that.
It's that
you can feel it, you know.
It's that trait that mom passes down and said, "Look, here's the line.
Exactly.
You can get up to the line. Don't go over that line. Then bring it back
down." Most definitely, man.
That's awesome. That's 100% true. I know, like my second, my second is my little girl, and she, you know, at first I thought it was just because she was a daughter, you know. And then, like, as I was talking to Steve and talking to other people, it's like, it doesn't matter. The second kid is just, you know, they don't get to be the only child. So I think that they learn real quick to be a little bit more independent. And and then all of a sudden it's like that, you know, like you said, we don't need you. And it's not really about what they, you know, needing you or not, but it's more like, hey, I want to do this on my own. I want to figure it out because I've pretty much had to figure everything else out on my own because you know, whatever.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's kind of like they have a blueprint from their older sibling, right? So it's like if I'm over here and I'm working with one or with my eldest, you know, on a math problem or on, you know, some type of issue, this one's obviously observing. So then, if he wants to add and go do it his own way or you know, form his own plan, and you know that's his thing. One thing that we really bond over at 2 years old, and I mean bond, is football. Like he loves football. Like the kid is taking handoffs, you know what I mean? So I'm like, hell yeah, me being injured right now, you know, that's all I can really do is throw a ball, you know, because it's distance, you know. Be so close to my foot just in case he runs into it or my leg, you know, with a break. But you know, he wants to catch it. He wants to, you know, I'll lean over and he'll take a handoff, you know. But you know, we'll sit there and I'll tell him go, and he'll say Raiders. You know what I mean? Or you know, he knows what he knows what a field goal is. He's just only 2 years old, so I'm like, okay, we might have a plan here. So I'm gonna get rich somehow, man.
Awesome.
Yeah, I have the same dreams, but my kids, I haven't shown the athletic ability yet, so I'm still waiting on it.
Oh, okay.
Might be something else. I'm hoping
for
something
sure,
else,
dude.
maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, my son he likes football, but his true love is baseball, and so it's funny to watch him. Like, you know, he tries to throw the football with me and he throws it just like a baseball, and I'm like, no, like, here's how you do it, here's how you do it,
Okay.
and he just
Yeah.
and then he's
Hey,
like,
you know
all right,
what though,
Dad,
man?
Yeah.
He's 4 or 5.
Yeah.
I mean, how quick do we pick up a football and figure out that throw a spiral and everything?
100%.
It takes time.
but like with Gibbs, like he
Yeah.
very like at 2 years old was hitting baseballs, and
Oh yeah, for sure.
you know, just like
Oh,
weird,
man. That's
like
badass, dude.
like really like way better than he should have been, you know.
Yeah.
And so I was like, sweet, you know, I got this athlete, and you know, you see him pick up anything other than a baseball and he looks like a 4-year-old, you know, which is fine.
Yeah.
You know, I have no problems with it, but it's just funny, like
Yeah,
he
baseball's
does all
his
this
thing
thing
for sure.
and just loves baseball.
Yeah. So you guys are in Ohio.
Yeah. So we got the Indians. Yeah.
You guys are Ohio fans of Ohio? Like, you guys are like
Listen.
Buckeyes to the fullest? You guys are like...
Oh, yeah.
Okay. All right.
And listen, I was going to wait till later to get into sports, but I mean, it seems like we could do it right now.
You do whatever you want. Anything you guys want to do.
All right. Well, I feel like we've already established the love as fellow fathers.
Yes.
But here's the real question I have for you.
Can
you admit that the Golden State Warriors 2015 championship should have never happened?
That's right.
Should have never happened. And the only way that the Warriors could beat the Cavs is to go sign KD.
I plead the fifth on that. 7-3-9.
Look, Kyrie doesn't get hurt game 1.
Without KD.
Oh, and Kevin Love.
No Kyrie, no Kevin Love.
Hey, you know what? Was Kevin Love a starter then?
Yeah.
Yeah, but he was hurt. He got hurt in the Boston series.
But
he got hurt the first.
Was he a starter before that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so he didn't come off the bench. Yeah. Okay. So
Kevin Love was a starter when he got hurt.
Okay. So naturally, you want to play everybody at full strength, right? But at the end of the day, you can play who's in front of you. You know, so if you know Kyrie Irving and Kevin Love were too weak to be strong, you know, and they got hurt. Well, that's not a Warriors issue. That's a Cavs issue.
I guess it just seemed like everything fell into place that year, and you know, whatever, that's cool because we got to come back and like me and Steve said before, we were actually talking and prepping for this and everything, and we were like, at the end of the day, we got to take down that 73 and 73 wins.
Hey, you know what? Coming back from 3 down, that was a gut punch. Like, that hurt hardcore. You know, so you know, you guys got to take that. You guys got to take that title. We didn't get the 73 wins and the title. We just, you know, we got 73. But then, you know, look what LeBron did to you guys now. Now he's with Lakers. They're like the
for
Yankees
the second time.
Basketball. Yeah, really.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
You know, and the thing that I can be proud of is that Kevin Durant was drafted, the only one that was really drafted that was a superstar, right? I mean, LeBron put a superstar team together. Like, he manufactured a superstar team with LA, right? So, I mean, you got, oh, God, he has so many people. Rajon Rondo, even down to Rajon Rondo. Like,
yeah, right.
That's ridiculous. You know, like, you are officially the Yankees of basketball, you know. So
right. Well, I mean, he is the Yankees of basketball. Ever since he left here the first time, like wherever he went, he just assembled these teams, and you know, he's amazing and everything else. And you know, I don't love that he left again, but I tell you what, that 4 years. That 4 years where it was just you know, back to back rematches was a lot of fun. I mean, I miss it. I mean, it's hard to watch the Cavs now.
I mean, 3-1, you know, but I mean, who am I to say?
Oh man, I don't.
So you guys are also Buckeye fans, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the Raiders actually took Arnett, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
How do you guys feel about him?
So,
So John Gruden said he is better than Okuda. Is that all hype, or is that?
I don't know about that.
Is he really the son of the receiver? Not the receiver. Chris Carter.
Oh,
I think. See, I don't know. I don't know
about that. I mean, Chris Carter was a Buckeye, so I mean, it doesn't. I don't know that actually.
I have to look that up because I heard during the draft,
sure.
the son of Chris Carter. And I was like, oh shit, like how come he's never advocated for his son on TV that I've seen?
Yeah, no,
because Chris Carter's pretty vocal still. So
yeah.
I would have thought.
And he's on ESPN too, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Like with that Nick.
Yeah, I'm looking it up because I didn't know that if he is, and that's kind of whatever.
Well, it seems like the Buckeyes always produce a lot of solid players, man. I mean, it's just down the line, they're always phenomenal.
Yeah.
But, I don't know. I'm not sure about being better than Okuda, but I don't know.
Yeah, I mean that dude's a baller. He where did he end up going?
Okuda. Oh shit.
Not the Giants.
Good question. Man, I don't even. I feel like I've been so out of sports with everything. I mean,
I don't know.
He's with. Damn it.
Not Miami.
Detroit Lions.
Detroit. Okay.
Yeah, that's
so
right.
Free. Yeah. No, we're Browns fans over here, so I think that
Cavs, Indians.
Oh man,
we can at least agree on struggles as football franchises.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
But you think you guys are going to turn around this year? I mean, did you guys like the Baker Mayfield signing?
Yeah,
at the time,
honestly, like, did you like it?
Yeah, he was solid for that season that he played.
The one where he took over for Tyrod?
Pure garbage.
Yeah, when he took over for Tyrod, that was amazing. That Jets game, that Thursday night game, I remember was my birthday.
Okay.
And so we were watching that, and that was intense. And then all of a sudden, after his rookie season, he shot like 46 commercials in the off season.
Yeah. That money, man, definitely.
Posing in his boxers with tigers and shit like that.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Tiger King.
Yeah. Right.
Not doing anything.
That kind of also plays into what we're doing, right? Obviously, if we're in this and it's a passion, you're not going to turn down a profit at the same time, right? But I just see so many, and I think the reason, and a credit to you guys, the reason I've been a fan for so long is you guys stay consistent. You guys have a really good following via your podcast, right? But I've reached out and I've spoke to other fathers and other podcasts, and once they get some type of recognition, man, they change. They start.
Yeah.
Like I started doing the same thing of like posting dads pictures with their kids, right?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know the game, but I guess people charge for that shit. I'm not gonna charge you just to celebrate you and your child, man. Like, why would I do that? And, like why would I do that? I'm not trying to make money off of you in a sense. I mean, if I make money off of this, that's one thing that's gonna come through promotion, and it's gonna come through whatever, commercials, etc. But I'm not trying to make money off of you, and I'm trying to help you, and I'm asking you to help me be a better father. I'm not gonna say, oh, I want to help you be a better father. Pay me $50 to put your picture on my website. Like, come on, man. Like that for me, that's corny, bro. That's super corny.
Well, it dilutes, right? It dilutes your credibility. It dilutes the authenticity. And I think Steve and I said from the beginning is like, if we never make a cent, we're cool, because at the end of the day, our goal is to reach out and connect with other dads and figure out what's going on in your life, what's going on in your world, because it helps us learn. It helps us become better fathers. And then it also helps the 22-year-old kid that like just found out that his girlfriend's pregnant and like searches about dads and finds our podcast and listens to it. And it's like, oh,
exactly.
shit. Yeah. It's real information.
Exactly.
we can figure this out together and all that kind of good stuff. So,
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, you know,
Like I did a.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead. Finish.
I was
No,
gonna say
I did an IMD.
It's the worst thing about Zoom calls.
I hate Zoom
It's the
so much.
worst.
But
Go ahead.
right.
I won't talk until you finish. Go ahead.
So what we're finding out now, a year and a half into it, is, and we've done, like, all of our growth has been organic. Like, we don't pay for subscribers or advertising or anything, or
Absolutely
all
not.
that kind of stuff. Like, there does come a point where you kind of have to run it like a business, and that's not necessarily bad.
No.
But it makes you think. Like, we've had a couple places reach out and was like, hey, will you read ads for us? And it didn't really fit what we were doing. And so we just said no. Like, you know, your couple bucks here and there, like, yeah, I hate to turn money away, but at the same time, like, we're not about, like, doing something that we don't believe in. We're not going to sell out for something like that.
Yeah, I'm not going to sell out for Johnson & Johnson. You know?
Right. Yeah, that might be something. But yeah, you know, I think that the authenticity and the patience is what's key.
For sure.
Yeah.
You know, Joe Rogan, for example, like the #1 podcaster out there, he didn't even have any recognition for his podcast until like 6 years down the road. You know, it was just him and his boys talking. And then all of a sudden it got big. You know, he was right time, right place, and became like the pioneer of podcasts, or not the pioneer, but he really took it to another level.
Yeah, for sure.
So we just said, like, let's just keep doing what we're doing, having fun. It's, you know, we made a little investment up front in some gear and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, we just get to have fun once a week and talk to somebody new and figure out, you know, what's going on in their heads and you know, learn a little bit. And that's fun. That's good enough for us.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's awesome, man. I think when, you know, like I said, you know, I did an IMDb search on one of my posts the other day, and I want to say that I love what my page has become, but at the same time I don't. I want it to be a little bit more direct and informative. I mean, you'll see. I'd say about 85 to 90% of the memes that I do post, I created. As far as I found the picture, you know, via a app or, you know, online, and then I created the same, you know, because that's my experience. I might repost one that's been circulated, you know, a couple times because it's funny. But outside of that, you know, I don't want to use anybody else's content. I don't want to be that guy.
Right.
And at the same time, I don't want to be a meme page. You know, you find a lot of these fucking meme pages, man. Like, there's a lot of meme pages, you know, and it's entertaining, you know, but it's like I look at this page and they have the same meme, and then they have the same meme with a different picture, and then they have the same picture with a different saying, and, you know, and it's just like it becomes redundant after a while. But you know, I think when we were first talking, my goal was to be informative, right? I posted this, I think you guys liked it, and it was one of my earliest posts. And I think when it comes to right place, right time, I didn't post it at the right time, because my page has grown since we had first, you know, started this. You know, I think I'm at almost 3,000 followers or whatever it is in the last month and a half, right? So I wanted to, I posted how, you know, 70% or 71% of the kids, you know, without fathers are early pregnancy, or, you know, 65% of them are in prison. 95% of homeless grew up without fathers fathers in the home. And, you know, how if it was an epidemic, then fatherless homes would really be an epidemic. I think at the time that I posted that, I wasn't strong enough in my following to post it, so I really posted it premature, you know. But at the same time, that's what I wanted to post. That's what I was feeling led to post. But I wanted to be more of the advocate, and I wanted to be more of the like you said, you know, the new father, the old father, the stepfather, the godfather, the adoptive father. You know, I wanted to be, you know, their voice, and for them to have a voice on my page, you know, or, you know, through this fatherhood journey, let you know that you're not alone. You know, you're not asking questions that I haven't asked or anyone else has asked in the history of fatherhood. You know, if you want to say, damn, I fucking hate being a dad today, you know what I mean? Like, I want you to say that. because you get those days where you're just like, God damn, I hate this shit right now.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
But then you get those days where you're just like, damn, I love this, you know, and I pray to God that those days outweigh the I hate these days. You know what I mean?
For sure.
But you still need to hear somebody out there say, I got you. You know what I mean? Or you're not alone in this. And I wanted to be that person, but the memes, of course, like you said, running it like a business, the memes are what's getting the response, you know?
Yeah.
And then my eldest doesn't like to be on camera. He doesn't, you know, he's not that guy. My second is a ham, you know, so I post videos of him and they get a good response. So I have to keep doing what the consumers want, but at the same time, it's like what they want isn't what I want all the time, you know? So it's kind of having to try to find that balance is hard, you know?
Because you want to stay true to what you want to do. And that's really important. And to go back to what you were saying too about people where you want to admit that, man, this sucks sometimes and this is difficult. And like we have people on all the time and we start getting in the conversation of this happened to me and it sucked. And they're like, holy shit, you know, I thought I was on an island, you know, like I thought I was the only one going through that. And it's nice to be able to kind of talk to people and have people listen to realize, man, I'm not losing my mind. My kid isn't crazy. I'm not failing as a father, you know, like, so
for sure. That's
why this is really important. And we found that over the past year that this is like, it's like therapy and it's, it helps us all out. It helps Ian and I out too when we get to sit down and realize, man, I'm not crazy, you know?
Yeah,
no, for sure. Selfishly too, like now because of what we do, when a day like that happens, that I'm just losing my mind and I have no patience and everything, I kind of go outside my body and I'm like, look, this is going to be something great to talk about this weekend.
Yeah, for sure.
Because this is a struggle.
It's a content builder.
And then it brings me
Absolutely.
back down to earth and say, okay, have a little patience. We're going to get through this. It's okay.
Yeah.
But then kind of like making notes down and saying, you know what? This is cool. Like this happens. It's okay. They're tired. They're sick and tired of being in the house for the last 2 months. Like we all are, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, for sure, man. I definitely hear that. And for me, you know, admittedly, you know, I like to admit, you know, hey, I'm not perfect at this, you know, and I'm still learning it. And part of my dad journey is to learn from other fathers. You know, maybe you're doing something better than I am. Maybe I'm doing something. Okay, let's not say better. Like, let's not a pissing match, but let's just say you're doing something different than I am. That may work for me.
Right.
And maybe I'm doing something different for you. You know, that may work for you in the long run. Patience, man, is one of those things. Like, you know, I come from a rough background, you know, and I don't want to say I came from a fatherless home because my dad was in the house, but lack of better words, right? So,
Gotcha.
And then, you know, in the Bay Area, you know, I'm from a place called Pittsburgh, California, without the H, right? And so, for me growing up there, I grew up rough. I grew up in the hood, you know. So sometimes I have those tendencies where I'm just like I find myself mugging my son. Like, you know, I'm a firm believer. You know, I'm not the best at religion. You know, I'm not the best, you know, follower of God, but I do say that I am a Christian, you know, and I do believe that your wife, I posted this the other day too, and I had people respond back, you know, even when you have kids, you know, you leave to cleave. When you get married, you leave to cleave, right? You're no longer mama's boy. You're no longer daddy's boy. Your family, your cousins, your aunts and uncles. So I'm Black and Filipino. Okay, so my Filipino side is the third biggest family in the city of Pittsburgh. I have 38 first cousins. So, you know, they just don't know when to stop humping, bro. It's crazy. but or they don't believe in contraceptive. I don't know. But you know, those were my brothers and sisters, you know, that we were all close, you know. But when I got married, it's not that I left them, but now she became my priority, right? But when you have kids, that still shouldn't change, because your marriage should be healthier for your kids, you know. So so, you know, my son who has, you know, Down syndrome, one of his things is hitting. Like, he hits, right? When he hits my wife, it's like, if I may say, the nigga in me was just like, you know what I mean? Like, what? Like,
Yeah.
what did you just, you know what I mean? Did you just hit my woman? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But then I have to snap back, and I'm like, no, like, you know, that's my wife, but that's my kids, you know, and I have to show him, one, you don't hit your mother ultimately, and two, you definitely don't hit women, you know,
Yeah.
and that's not what we do in this family. But for a split second, my anger just like, yo, like,
Yeah.
you want to go blows, homie? Like, you know what I mean? But at the same time, you know, I see other dads, and I look at how, you know, their breathing tactics or their patience, you know, and I respect the hell out of that, because sometimes I need that real quick, just like, oh my
Yeah.
God, you know, and not that I put my hands on my kids or my wife or anything. I'm not angry like that. But for a split
Yeah.
second, my anger
Sure.
or my nature, I guess, reverts back to like what I grew up looking
Yeah.
at, you know, and so yeah.
Well, and I think that can be true for just about anything. I mean, I know, you know, I have a military background, and you know, I was in the Marine Corps and all that kind of stuff, and I
Thank you
catch
for your
myself.
service. I have a lot of family in the military, so whenever I hear
Oh,
that, I
thanks, brother.
definitely
I appreciate that.
your service. Thank you.
But like, I'll do the same shit. Like, you know, it's a simple task that I'm like, all right, you need to clean up your toys. It's time for dinner. And
Yeah.
at first, I was just like, I don't understand why you're not understanding the words that are coming out of my mouth.
Move
Like,
now.
Yeah.
clean your freaking toys up. It's time. And
Yeah.
like, my wife's looking at me like, yo, he's 3.
I
You know what I
know,
mean?
man.
And I'm like, I know.
Yeah.
So, like, I had to come up with another
Eyeballs click.
solution. But I think it's,
Yeah.
I think as fathers or even just as men, like, and you know, women do too, but like we wear different hats, right? Like, we evolve as human beings, and we say, okay, we were this and now we're this. I was this, and I think sometimes for guys it's hard to cope with that. Like,
For sure.
Well,
like
you, I
used to
mean,
be
that
an
that
athlete.
masculinity, especially, you know,
Right.
you're the alpha in your home, you know, and
Right.
so it's
Oh,
just
for
like,
sure.
yeah, I just like, yeah, you know, and it's not like I'm thinking, oh, my kid's gonna take over because he's alpha. It's just that alpha mentality. You need to be like that in a sense to be the alpha, because
Sure.
you have to have that dominance, right? You have to enforce
Yeah.
that dominance and instill a healthy amount of respect. I guess for some reason, I feel like, you know, I mean, I'd never beat my kids, but I know my dad and me and my mom's, you know, ex, they had this look, you know, like they give me like, and when I seen that look, I knew it's bad. Like,
Yeah. Okay. I gotta
it's
stop. Yeah.
bad. Like, there's no stopping. Like, I'm dead when I get home. It's a wrap, you know. So I feel like if I can at least enforce that look, you know, and then, you know, I would instill a healthy amount of fear where he sees that look and he knows, oh shit, like I went too far. You know, I did something I wasn't supposed to do, you know. But then I have to remember, like, damn, he's a kid. Like, he's not
Yeah.
gonna get this. And not only is he a kid, he's a kid with special needs. And then my 2-year-old, same thing. He wilds out, but he's only 2, you know. And I'm just like you gotta snap that. You gotta snap that back. And
Well,
you know,
Yeah.
to differentiate that is sometimes it's hard.
it is, and I think that the other thing that I always have to remind myself is, you know, I think that we see the best in our kids and the potential, and like, I look at my boy and I look at my daughter, and I'm like, man, you guys could do anything. Like, you're smart, and this is what you do well, and it's amazing. And then when they struggle at something, or they revert to that 2-year-old that wants to throw a tantrum because they're 2, I'm like, wait a minute. Like, I've seen you do exactly
Yeah.
what I
Yeah.
asked. Like, but they don't, like, they're not capable yet of being a consistent. I mean, hell, we're not capable of it.
No,
I lose
shit.
my shit. You know what I mean?
For sure.
Exactly.
And like,
For sure.
I have to remind myself, and my wife does a really good job of reminding me, like, you throw tantrums. I'm like, all right.
All right.
Yeah.
I don't throw
for sure.
tantrums, but yeah, you're right.
Well, yeah, it's like with, especially with this whole like quarantine thing. Like, we do our learning in the morning or whatever, and I'm like, after 40 minutes, my son he's done. You know, like he's not even trying anymore. I'm like, I don't understand why you're not trying. I don't understand why you're not doing. You know what you're doing. You're making me crazy. And I'm like, all right, their attention span at 2 and 4 years old is not there for 40 minutes. Like, just give them a break and try to take a step back and just relax. And yeah, you're right though. I mean, sometimes, because you know what they can do, it's frustrating. But at the same time, like we all have said, they're kids, and we need to just take it easy.
Yeah.
And going back to having that dad look and having that masculinity and just being like tough on them, I think that is at some point important to have that dad role, to have that, you know, for them to
Healthy
have
amount
that
of fear.
discipline.
Yeah,
Exactly,
for
a
sure.
healthy amount, not overwhelming, not
Like,
over the
yeah.
top. But I think in
Yeah.
small
Got me
doses it's
through.
important, right?
Yeah,
I
for
mean,
sure.
it works.
Yeah.
It works for us, and I think it'll help them down the road. But it is good to
Yeah.
have the wife at home to tell you, "Hey, take it easy, back up a little
Yeah,
bit,
for
you
sure.
know, take a step back and think about it." It's
Absolutely.
like, all right, you're right.
And you know, I feel for the, you know, in saying, you know, it's good to have the wife. I feel for the single dads, you know, who
Oh,
don't
For
have the
sure.
wife or don't have. It's like, damn, how do you navigate this? And then that's where I genuinely feel that's where, you know, the talking dads. That's where That's Why podcast. That's where we come in. I'm not saying that we're gonna be your wife, but we'll be your voice. We'll be your. Hey, I've been there before. You know, I got a temper
Yeah.
too, but this is what I did to taper that shit. You know, I walked outside or I did X, Y, and Z, and now I'm okay with what the outcome is, you know. And
Mhm.
it you know, I learned how to be more subdued. You know, I've been I was a martial artist at a young age. Thank you, baby. um I was a martial artist at a young age, so I tried to learn humility and you know, patience. And unfortunately for me, the martial arts didn't teach me that. It just taught me to be cocky and fight all the time, you know. And so it really took having a child and then having a wife to check me that taught me real patience, you know. And for me, that is where my peace and my calm come from. And I always, hey, come here, look it. This is my 2-year-old.
What's up?
Hey,
What's up, little man?
Peekaboo. All right, go get out of here. But you know, I feel like, you know, at this point in my life, you know, my past, I don't allow my past to define my present or my future, but I definitely allow it to shape decisions that I know that I'm gonna have to make later on, by saying I had every bad example of what a bad father was, right, in my past. So now I just do everything opposite of that. I try to do everything opposite of that. Where my mom was abused all the time, I try to love on my wife. You know, where I was abused all the time, I try to love on my kids. You know, and when my dad was absent, I try to be there. You know, and that's where my peace and my calm and my temperament have led me now to where I can say, all right, you know, I need to take a beat for a minute before I beat somebody. So,
Right.
you know, I definitely feel for those dads who don't have
Yeah.
that crutch,
Can't imagine.
you know. Yeah.
I can't imagine my wife not being here. Like, she just does so much. Like, you know, having the podcast and everything. You know, you try and, you know, other people will be like, oh man, like, you know, you're this, like, you know, what do I do about this situation? I'm like, well, shit, let's just work it out. But
Yeah.
at the end of the day, I'm like, well, here's what my wife does. And I'm like, wait a minute, aren't you the talking dad? Like, you should have all the answers. I'm like, no, bro. Like, that's not how it works. Like,
Yeah, for sure.
like,
And it's about admitting that you don't know
right.
what you
Yeah,
don't
for
know,
sure.
right? And being okay taking that criticism from your wife, even though you're the alpha male, right? I mean, that's crazy. You're the alpha. You're supposed to be the all knowing in the house, but you're taking from your wife. Who runs the house? You know, it's like, yo, I
Exactly.
tell my wife all the time, like, yeah, I might be the head of household, but you run this shit, you know?
Oh,
Exactly.
yeah.
Well, and I think that's almost a better definition of alpha, is to be able to say, look, I can manage what's going on, and part of that is knowing what I don't bring to the table. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I mean, and that's the best part of marriage, or at least what's supposed to be the best part of marriage is that balance. You know, where I'm weak,
Yeah.
she's strong, and vice versa. You know, she's really the emotional, um, and sometimes physical strength. You know, when it comes to our family unit. But you know, I feel like I just have to be there sometimes to be the muscle, you know, when she's dealing with something. You know, I have to be the arms, you know, and where she's the heart and the head, you know. But sometimes you get to switch roles where you get to be the heart and head. So, I feel like at this moment in my life, and on this journey that I'm on with this podcast and learning from fathers like you, that I can really step my game up in different areas, and not publicly where I'm boasting about it. You always find these other dad pages where it seems like it's a flex all the time, right? It's like, oh, I'm out here with my kid and we're giving food to the poor. Like, why filming that shit?
Yeah.
Or I'm out here like, you're doing too damn much, bro. Like,
Right.
you're doing too much. I filmed a video of my kid punching me in the face, and that almost has 700 views. You know what I mean? It's like, I didn't expect that. I just know that his trigger word is, "Do you want a piece of me?" And I said it loud enough, he might run in here and try to swing on me. But like, that's his trigger word. Like, if I say that to him at any time, he'll jump up.
Yeah.
Oh, see, look.
Oh, here it goes.
Yeah, I told you.
What?
For real. No, I'm good, baby. I'm good. I don't want a piece of you. We're good. I'm sorry. I was explaining a story, but I wasn't asking you if I wanted a piece. No, we're good.
That's the cutest thing ever.
No, I don't want to take it outside. Go ahead, man. We're good here. Man, see?
That's amazing.
Bully,
That's so
He's a
funny.
bully. Okay, right. We're good.
Oh, that's so good.
That's awesome.
Huh? Yeah. He's not a he's a bully to me, but he just won't take shit from anybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Okay, go. Get out of here.
So good.
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
man. I'll tell you, he can hear it from any part of the house. I'm not gonna say it again.
Yeah.
I'll run downstairs.
Right.
You weren't lying.
Yeah.
But that's a cool thing that you have with your son, though. I mean,
Yeah.
It's something like, I think that's what's really cool about sons. That's the thing that I noticed that's different with my daughter is my son. I can say something like that, or we do this thing at night where, and like, I know Steve, you and your sons have your handshakes, and with my son, like, I'm like, all right, dude, and I give him a fist bump, and like, when I do that, he knows like it's time for bed now or whatever. You know what I mean? But like my daughter, I've tried doing something like that with my daughter. She just looks at me like, nah, bro.
Yeah.
You're read me another story.
Yeah. This is what's gonna happen. Yeah, and
I'm
man,
like, okay.
I want a daughter so bad, man. We're considering trying for a third, but she thinks my man gene is too strong. So she's like, nah, if I don't get my daughter, then you're gonna want to try again. You want to keep trying, and I'm ready to close up shop.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I really only got one crack at this, And she never lets me forget. You decide what it's gonna be. I'm like, well, I'm the deciding factor.
I don't physically decide.
Mentally
decide. Yeah.
I'm not God, I mean, despite what you think of me, but I, but yeah, having a son, and it, at the same time, man, like I could get teary-eyed about it. I'm trying not to, but like I said, my first son, if you don't mind me going to a small story.
Oh, absolutely.
I did a couple years in the state penitentiary for trying to protect a family member, and really just not saying anything and just saying I know nothing. And what happened. They sentenced me to 2 years. I did my 2 years, right? In the time that I was locked away, my son was born. So my first son, he was born. I found out in prison that he had cancer. So I'm thinking I'm never gonna see him. I try to donate bone marrow. I try to donate blood. And side note, what was really cool about that, if anybody watching this or listening to this is a believer of God and you need some type of positive affirmation, a CO turned on a phone for me right next to my cell and said, you have free range. If you abuse it, you're going to the hole for a month, but you can call home all you want. Make sure your son's good. Like, I was just like, whoa, like thank you. He's like, no money. I'm just going to turn it on. You call home. If I see anybody on it but you, you're done. You're going to the hole.
Yeah.
I wasn't going to pass that up. Like, thank you. You know what I mean? And he unlocked myself. You can call home. And
Wow.
that for me was like, wow, I couldn't believe that. But
Yeah.
you know, even then, just calling us home as much as I can, you know, because I had to get off the phone at a certain amount of time. I couldn't stay on all night.
Sure.
It's the time when they cut you off. But it's just not the same being there. You know, and my wife had to go through 2 sessions of 10 hours old, 2 sessions of chemo, 2 blood transfusions, full blood transfusions. Just being a new mother at 18, you know, like it was hell for her first time, you know, and I don't really talk about the hell that I had to go through emotionally because sure, people understand like, okay, yeah, you know, your son got cancer and, you know, that's cool and not cool, but, you know, we get it.
Right.
But if you cry too much, then you start getting looks, you know, and then you get challenged a little bit. That's just how it is, you know.
Yeah.
They're gonna feast on you when you're most vulnerable, right? So you still gotta kind of hold it in, but you know, where you're sucking in your tears, now it's a mean mug, and so now you gotta make sure you're not mugging the wrong person, you know. And then it's like, you know, who you're looking at. So it's really like head down the whole time, but alert, you know. And it was a real mind fuck, right? It was a real mind fuck. And for me to go through that, you know, with him, I got home when he was 8 months, and you know, I always just sing to her stomach, and then you know, when he was out of the hospital, I was always singing to him and talking to him. So when I got out, you know, I posted this picture on my page as well. It was my very first picture with him, and his back is towards the camera, but you can see his cheekbones way up, you know, so you know he's smiling. So he recognized my voice, and that was my first taste of being present, as present as I can be with the circumstance I was in. And I'm sure you being in the military, I don't know if you're in the military with your, you know, with your kid, but or before you had your kid, but for the fathers who are in the military or away at work, I'm sure they feel the same thing. You know, you're gonna miss so many special moments and opportunities that you have to find a way to be present. I mean, technology got FaceTime now, you know, but
Which is good.
it's still not the same. It's still not the same,
no.
right? So
That
I didn't get the birthing experience with my first the way I got it with my second.
Mhm.
So, but my first, I mean, I wish sometimes that with going through what he's going through and, you know, his ability in conquering Down syndrome daily, I wish that, you know, he would be more active. You know, I wish like he would see, oh man, you know, my dad's fun, or, you know, but no, it's just like sometimes he just wants his iPad. He wants to be left alone. He's 10 years old in age, but he's like 5 years old in mental, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And my wife and I kind of planned it that way. And some people might call it cruel, but we're young parents, you know. We had a 10-year-old, and we waited for him to get old enough mentally to understand that he was a big brother before we had the younger one, because eventually the mental gap is gonna it's gonna close, and then it's gonna exceed, right? But there's enough years in between them right now where the youngest one is like, that's my big brother, right?
Yeah.
But then when my wife and I go on from this earth, and that mental gap has now, you know, past his older brother, that love that he's and respect that he has for him will hopefully he'll take care of him, you know, when we're gone.
Yeah.
Because if not, then we leave him alone. We leave our oldest alone on this earth, you know. You know, for us, that was our main thing.
Yeah, look, I don't think that's cruel at all. I think that's, I mean, look, we always want to set our kids up for success, right? And like, I think you not only set up your oldest, but you also set up your youngest for success in that regard, because
for sure,
I think that's incredible.
And I mean, some people say like, oh, well, you only had your second to take care of your first, and that's not true, you know, but it is definitely a plus for us, you know.
Yeah. I mean, come on. I don't know. I wouldn't have even thought that, but
no. But some people do
These
think
are
like
things
that.
that we hear, man.
Yeah.
These are things that we hear, and
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
just in this community, you know, it's just, you know, we're really young. Well, you know, my chapter 32 is coming up here pretty soon, but you know, we're still the youngest parents in his school with a child with Down syndrome. You know,
Yeah.
I don't dress him like those parents dress their kids. You know,
Right.
my kid was voted best dressed, and this is not a flex, but this is just the truth. My kid was voted best dressed like 3 years in a row. You know, because I still dress him in the necklaces. I still dress him in the Jordans. I still dress him in because I'm not gonna send my kid in loafers and sweats like the way you guys are doing it. Because I'm not gonna give the world another excuse to beat on him. You know, just because he has Down syndrome and now he dresses funny. Like, why would you do that? Why would you set your child up like that?
Yeah, for sure.
If he didn't have Down syndrome, would you dress him with Jordans and some chains, or, you know, whatever it is? Like, I know my kid
Look at my youngest. He's only 2 years old, and he's the same way. You know.
Yeah, exactly.
Loves his Jay. You know what I mean? So like, it doesn't matter. Like if you are able to and you want to and he likes it, then who gives a shit? Like,
yeah, exactly.
Well, I don't know if he likes it, but I like it. And right now, you know, right now, you don't get a choice.
That's true though. Sometimes my kids want to leave the house looking like, you know, their pajamas. You know what I mean? Like, if we're leaving the house, they're gonna get dressed up. We're gonna look nice.
Right. Yeah.
We're gonna go out in public looking. We don't want to, like you said, another excuse for someone to say something or judge you as a parent. Like, oh, look at this person not taking care of their kids.
Yeah.
No,
I was that kid, you know what I mean? But that was because my circumstance was horrible when I was growing up. Like I didn't have that kind of, you know, I didn't have money like that, you know. But I wore hand-me-downs, and I was that kid that got made fun of. So then I naturally had to get good at sports and learn martial arts, so that when I did get made fun of, I could kick somebody's ass, you know what I mean? And people would leave me alone.
Right.
But you know, I've been blessed with, you know, like I said, a music career, and you know, my 9 to 5. Well, I'm not working now because obviously I have a broken leg and a broken foot. But you know, at the same time, like, I've been blessed now to have a career where I can say, okay, you know, I'm at least gonna make you presentable. You know what I mean? I might not buy you the most expensive things, you know, but I'm gonna try. I'm gonna put some effort. You know
absolutely.
What I mean? And I'm not saying and let me clarify. I'm not saying my kids walk around with chains and bracelets and shit. We all have the same matching chain. So like, theirs have crosses, I have the baby rings, you know. So and this is the only jewelry I wear. I'm a musician, and that's the only jewelry I wear. You know, I'm not in a flash, you know, and I think that's why this songwriter life fits me better. That's why this quarantine life fits me okay, because it's like I'd rather not go out anyway. Go out anyway, you know. But as a songwriter, my wife and my kids don't have to put up with the bullshit of me being a front runner, you know. So we just get to sit back and watch, you know, what if and when, you know, something hits, we get to watch and get the royalties from that. And she don't gotta get her ass at Target, and my kids don't gotta get harassed at school and things like that. So
man, you got some amazing perspective. I mean,
thank you.
You know, it's always easy to look at somebody else's life and say, man, that's awesome, or look what they're doing with their kids, or look at this dude that, you know, he's a songwriter and he's able to do this or that, you know, whatever. And then that's why I love doing this podcast, because you figure out who somebody is, even if it's just scratching the surface, right? Like we haven't talked that much, but it's cool to see perspective of somebody and then say, okay, you've had, by my quick count, like at least 4 or 5 reasons where you could have said, this dad shit is too much work, or this is how I was raised and this is how I'm going to do it because that's what I know. And instead you took the positive side and you're trying to do better, which is awesome. Because I think as a when it all comes down to it, I think that after talking to, I don't know, 60 some odd dads over the last year and a half, is at the end of the day is if you can try and do better, then you're doing your job as a father.
Hell yeah.
And none of us are perfect, but if you can try and do a little bit better.
It's just about effort, man. It's such a simple word, effort. And you know, so many words in our American vocabulary have been watered down, like love and lit and you know what I mean? Shit like that. You know,
Right.
not that those are the same words, but they're just oversaturated, right? You know,
Yeah.
Well, they
you
sell.
fuck up with your wife and you say I love you, and you hope
sells.
that you know what I mean. Yeah.
Yeah.
But for me, it's just like, you know, fatherhood it's not saturated enough, but except for the narrative that there are no good fathers, you know, and you know, I think I was making the point earlier, and I kind of obviously went off track, but I did an IMDb search, because I was curious about how many motherless homes or absent mother movies are there, you know. How many movies are based around a mother who wasn't present? How many or an abuse? Well, you'll find a lot of like abusive mothers. You know, a lot of moms are abusive, but you know, but as far as motherless or non-present mothers, how many? And the numbers are completely lopsided. And then I was like, okay, that's not a lot at all versus how
Yeah.
many, you know, there are for father. I mean, it was like
True.
like 200 more movies on fatherless homes than there are. I mean, look at our pick like 5 biggest cartoons or shows on TV right now. You have that one football movie or one football thing on Netflix.
Oh, All
American,
American.
All American.
Oh,
Fatherless.
Yeah.
Fatherless, right?
Yeah.
Will Smith, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Mhm.
Fatherless, right? So I mean, that's just the narrative that is.
Right.
Look at Max from goddamn Goofy. Like
Yeah.
he's a single
Yeah.
parent. You know, like that's a single parent. You know what I mean? Like where it's either they're fatherless or they're single fathers. And for me, like that's just shit because
Yeah.
I'm present and I love my wife. You know, and I'm a devoted father. I'm a devoted husband. Who says I can't be both?
Yeah.
Fuck you if you're saying that I fit that narrative. And I think the reason I'm not that I'm trying so hard, because I am trying hard to change this narrative, is because deep inside I feel like I've already notched a statistic being a black man in prison. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
legitimate 67%
Right.
of all population in prison is black men. And my page isn't directly for black men. There's a lot of pages that are just strictly for black men. Like
Right.
that's fine because that's a topic that needs to be tackled. But I'm mixed. You know what I mean? So I have multiple sides. My kids are only a quarter black, quarter Puerto Rican, quarter Irish, and quarter Filipino. You know, so
Yeah.
you like they're mutts. You know, so it's
Right.
like I can't just center. I can't be comfortable just tackling, you know, black fatherhood. So that's
Yeah.
why I've branched out to all fathers, you know, and I'm talking about Catholic fathers, Christian fathers,
Mhm.
Muslim fathers, Democratic fathers, Republican fathers. Like I want to know everybody's, you know, twins, triplets, girls, boys, you know what I mean, adoptive. I want to know perspective because we're all going through the same thing. You
That's
know?
it right
Yep.
there. I was just about to
100%.
say, like,
100%.
if we can figure out somebody else's perspective and then take that information and say, okay, like, how can I, like I'm not black or Filipino. Like, how can I take something that you're going to say and relate it to my life and how I raise my kids? And if
Yeah.
I can come away with something like that, then I just became a better dad. I just became a better man because
Yeah.
now I'm reaching out. That's what I love about this. Like,
Yeah.
and
for
you
sure,
know,
man.
like you kind of touched on a little bit about like the memes and stuff like that. And like, it's hard. And again, this kind of goes back to running it like a business, but like we went through this phase where we were just posting memes and everything like that. And yeah, it saw some growth, but like our downloads weren't doing any better or anything.
Yeah.
Like that. And
Yeah.
so then we kind of took a step back and said, okay, let's focus on our content, because again, we're not here to make money. We're not here to do anything but chat with other dads and then hopefully create a community where we're raising kids better. And like,
Yeah,
better is
for
a
sure.
terrible term, but like,
No, it makes sense.
But
Yeah, for
you
sure.
know
I
what
mean,
I'm
trying to
saying?
improve it. Yeah.
Right. Trying to
That's a
improve
badass shirt.
the
I
fatherhood
like that
community.
shirt.
So like, I think that's awesome. And that's exactly why we do this, is to connect with somebody like you who, I mean, we're on other sides of the country. I mean, you're a freaking Warriors fan, which, you know, it's the only
Don't hold it against
Dub
you.
Nation.
but like that's what's awesome about this, and like what we have in common is fatherhood, right? And so how can we get, like, our goal is to get everyone as excited about fatherhood as you are and as we are, because if we all did that, like, maybe in a generation or two, we're not talking about, you know, Republican fathers or Democratic fathers or black fathers or white fathers,
Exactly.
or whatever. Maybe we're talking
fathers.
about dads,
Absolutely.
right? Like, because how cool would that be?
Yeah, I think that's awesome. Yeah, that's fantastic, bro. Like, I think, you know, I want to get to a point where we're just saying, like, you know, oh, I'm not black, or I'm not white, or I'm not Mexican or Asian. Okay, so what do we have in common? I'm not from the hood. I'm not from the suburbs. I'm not drinking. You know, I don't drink alcohol. You know, I don't drink water. You know what I mean? Whatever the differences are, we can go all day, every day, and just say I'm not this, compared to what you are and aren't. But so what do we have in common? We're dads. That's all we need. Like, that's all we need.
And isn't that the ultimate
like,
responsibility, the ultimate, like, gift? The ultimate, you know,
dude, to be able to do this, raise
title?
good kids, and, you know, raise the future to become that, you know, right? To get to that point to where we could all say that, like, we're just talking to each other, not as this or that, but just a person or a father, you know. So, I mean, that's why this is all huge. I mean, this is awesome talking to you. Like Ian said, someone across the country. I mean, who would have thought we'd be doing something like this? Is the nice thing about Zoom, right? I mean, it would be awesome to have you in our studio. That'd be cool. Or us come to California, but
hell yeah.
But
next time you're in Disneyland, let me know.
Dude,
love to. I'd love to.
Yeah, I got a studio out there. We can do a podcast out there.
Nice.
Oh,
yeah.
We just had a trip planned for Disney World in April, and they shut Disney down. Like, I mean,
you're planning on going for like 5, 6, 7 days, right? Because I heard you can't see that shit all in like one day.
No,
like,
we were going for what, 6 days?
6 days. Yeah, the day
Yeah,
after
we were
Easter,
going for 6 days. It was us, and then actually the dude from our very first podcast, his family. So there was going to be 6 adults and 4, 6, 7 children.
7 kids.
7 kids
under 5.
Outnumbered.
In a house.
Outnumbered.
Man,
you guys going to Airbnb it?
Yeah, we had an Airbnb lockdown. You know, it was awesome.
Crazy.
We had the cars rented. We had it all set up. We were all set, man. I was pumped. I haven't been there. Ian's been there twice with his kids.
Mm-hmm.
We haven't been there.
I'm gonna get him to the couch. Don't mind me.
No, you're good.
No, you're good, man.
This
whole thing was just that sucked, man. It kind of threw us off. But we'll reschedule. We'll do it again. Disneyland. Hey, we do Disneyland too. We'll come visit you.
Yeah, man. I mean, Disneyland. They also have, like, I don't know what they have in Florida as far as, Disney World. I mean, I do know, and my son is a big Toy Story fanatic, so I'm gonna definitely have to hit the Jesse Park, or the Toys Park. But out here, they also have like the San Diego Zoo. They have
San Diego Zoo is great. I've been to San Diego Zoo.
Yeah, they have a ton of beaches. SeaWorld. Knott's Berry Farm, and obviously you're in LA. So that for me, like, that's our annual trip. We just every Christmas, we shoot out there for a few days and just enjoy really being a kid. My wife is a Disney fanatic, so she's turned me into that. Like, I never thought I'd be that, just like I never thought I'd be a Friends fanatic, but here I am. I'm watching Friends and 90 Day Fiance.
Wait, doesn't Disneyland have don't they have the Cars?
Yeah.
They also have Disney California. They have cars.
Okay.
Okay. Which is the park across the street.
My sons are huge into cars, man. I got every single Cars toy in this house, and
Lightning McQueen is a big.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Number 95. Yeah.
Oh man, my kids, man.
Man.
Obsessed.
Yeah. I think I think my youngest right now, he's super into. It used to be Mickey Mouse Clubhouse. That's why I posted that meme about.
Come inside us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So but now he's more transitioned to my joy and surprise. He's actually transitioned to like the old 90s goofy cartoons.
Yeah.
It's the Goof Troop. We're
Yep,
all
Goof.
in
Oh
it.
man.
Yeah.
Yo,
So,
Oh, dude. Ever
so
since
Disney Plus is the
Plus
shit.
came
Disney
out,
Plus
yeah,
has a Goofy movie.
Yeah,
Yes.
dude. I posted it the other day. I said
yeah.
if you're not teaching your kids right now about the legend of Powerline, then I have
So
to question
good.
your parenting, dude. Like
So good.
I have to question your parenting. Or Sandlot.
Oh,
I
yeah.
have to
Oh man.
I have to question your parenting. You know what I mean? And there's so many '90s movies that I love sharing with them. Sandlot, Rookie of the Year, Mighty Ducks. You know, like all
I mean,
those
I
Oh,
movies.
hate
man.
the Cubs, but Rookie of the
It's
Year is
just
amazing.
Rookie of the year.
oh yeah, Rookie, Funky Butt Loving, man. Like that's
Funky.
that's my.
Oh, did you say funky butt loving?
Like I mean,
Rosengarten.
who doesn't dream of that? You know, like
Seriously.
my shit breaks, and then now I have this amazing. You know,
You're going to be a soccer player now.
funny story. When I broke my foot, I thought like, what the hell can I do with my foot now that's gonna give me pain? So
You're going to be the next Pele, bro.
yeah,
There you
dude.
go.
But this injury has been
So
it's
what'd you do
kinda
to
been
that?
Yeah, I was gonna ask,
uh,
what happened to the foot?
oh man, so aside of being singer songwriter, my responsibility is taking care of this family, right? And that's always not paying the bills. So obviously I have a 9 to 5. I'm an operations manager, and I was assisting. I work in stone, like granite, marble, etc. Um, and one of my temp workers, was driving the forklift unsafely, and he caught me in walking position where my heel was like this, and he ran over the back of my heel and then dragged me under. And then he wasn't going too fast, but at the speed he was going, that if I had laid straight down, he would have been on my hip or my back or maybe my head. So I threw my body to the right, and then that's where the fibula break happened.
Oh
No joke.
God, man.
Yeah, so I mean, gnarly. I mean, just out of this world swelling and blisters, and then obviously the ankle's broken in 2 places, the ligament is torn, and like I said, the fibula is broken as well. So
Man.
yeah, I have like man, it's been a hell, because it's really been like my personal quarantine within this quarantine. And
Yeah.
it's kind of where a lot of my depression. I don't want to say depression. I'm not, like, I'm 51.
But yeah.
But in a sense, I have a 2-year-old and I have a 10-year-old, right? And we're in quarantine. They're not going to school. They're not going to the parks. The next best bet after that is dad. Like, not even mom.
Running around
Like,
playing with dad.
all respect to mom. I love her, and they love
Yeah.
her. But when it comes to dad, it's a different level of fun, dude. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
It's the rough
this is-
housing, that's the playing
this is
outside.
me getting thrown over the bed and almost out of my window fun. You know what I mean? Like, it's just fun that mom is now forced to have, because I
And it's
can't.
exhausting.
And to have your 2-year-old come and say, Daddy play with you, and then you had to sit there and look at him and say, I can't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I physically cannot get up out of this bed right now. And that's when I couldn't. Oh my God, dude, it was so heartbreaking. Like,
Yeah.
it was so heartbreaking. And then, again, my eldest, he gets a lot of anxiety, so when he first seen me, he didn't want to, for 2 weeks, 3 weeks almost, he didn't want to come around me. He didn't want to go upstairs. If I was able to limp my ass downstairs to try to be with him, at least just sit on the couch, he'd zoom upstairs. Like, I don't want to see you. I don't want to see the foot. I don't want to see you in pain. He's so in tune musically and emotionally to me, that, like, if I squint my face, like, it's like he feels it. If a song on the TV starts to get sad, or the mood on the show gets somber, he feels it. He'll start tearing up or he'll cry. So when it comes to my wife and I, when it's like times 10. So
Yeah.
he's like, I don't want to deal with that emotion. But my youngest is like, what's going on? You know what I mean? Like, but he
jumping
wanted,
on you.
yeah, but he wanted to help me up the stairs. He wanted to, he really wanted to be a part of what was going on. He wanted to try to give me a bath. He wanted to try to change the bandages. Anytime my wife was doing anything with me, he'll hear my medicine bottles rattle, and you'll hear him running. Daddy medicine? Yeah, I gotta take my medicine. And I literally had to take the medicine, put it in my hand. He'll take the medicine, put it in my mouth, and then force me to drink my water. Like I have to let him waterboard me. Like like, Daddy, drink your water. Yep, cool. So and such an amazing feeling that is. But then to watch my wife have to, fuck man, take out the trash, do the cooking, give the boys a bath, play with them. Like for me, huh? Okay. Um, for me to for her to just, I mean, everything, bro. Like everything
Yeah.
that takes walking. The other day, no, not the other day, because I'm a little better now. As far as like my physical therapy, like the cast is off and all that shit. But I still have a long road ahead. But at the same time, when I was using crutches, it was like, dude, I went and made coffee, and I wanted to thank her, kind of just in the morning. I made her coffee. I couldn't even fucking bring it to her, dude. Like,
Yeah.
I'm bouncing, like using my crutches, and I literally broke down in the kitchen and I was crying because I'm like, I can't even bring you fucking coffee. Like I
And
can't.
that's
As a
that's
man,
something
you're
the
just
daily.
like,
Yeah, I mean that's like the things that like you do as a husband, as a father, like the stuff that you can't do, and that kills you to have to sit back
shit.
and watch your wife have to do all that, and you
Yeah,
can't
take
do
out the
anything about
trash.
it.
Like,
Yeah.
like I used to. I'd give anything for her to yell at me to take out the trash right now. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like before, I'm like, there's 2 bags on the patio. All right, I'll take it out in a minute.
I'll
You
get
know
to
what I mean?
it.
But,
Yeah,
but
right.
I'm like, I'll do it. I'll do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Please don't. And obviously, going through pregnancy, we all know that, our wives' back problems don't ever really go away.
Yeah.
So it's like, she already has a pre-existing condition when it comes to her back, and it's like, now she's throwing it out every fucking day. Like, I'm just, and I'm so proud and I'm so thankful. And it's like, if I ever doubted your love ever, like, I never do it again kind of thing. But, and it's not that she had to prove herself to me, but holy shit, like, she's nonstop from the time she wakes up. It's, all right, babe, get downstairs, get your foot elevated, and then I'll get the boys breakfast. After breakfast, we got to stretch you out. You got to go for a walk. You got to do this. You got to, we got to do your exercises.
That's awesome.
Cool. It's nap time. I'll do lunch. They go to sleep. You go to sleep. Like, and it's boom, 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 boom.
Yeah.
And then it's bath time. And then it's like, okay, I'll put the boys to sleep and get you elevated. You take your medicine. Like, oh, she'll come in. Hey, 4 hours. You got to take your medicine. All right, cool. I'm hearing her alarm every 4 hours. I'm like, yo, like, all right, I got the alarm at least. Shit, I got a phone. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, just leave the medicine next to me. It's like, no, I got it. And she wants to do it, but I don't want her to do it. I don't want her to
That's the
want
tough
to
part.
do it. You know what I mean? It's like, fuck, leave me alone. Like, and it's not like leave me alone. Like, I just want to be able to do something.
Yeah.
And like, the day that I was feeling, I was hopped up on like 6 Percocet. Like, it's not like I was abusing it, bro. But let me tell you something. When the nerve blocks were off, so they gave me a nerve block in my ass, right, like right under my ass. I think the military, they would call it a peanut butter shot. Like, it was that big of a needle, right? Like, just relentless stabbing to my buttocks, just pow, and it locked my whole leg up. For 72 hours, I could not move. My brain and my foot were not communicating.
Yeah.
And it scared the
Hell yeah.
I had the taste of what paralysis was. Like,
Yeah.
I'm like telling my foot, fuck it, just move, right?
Yeah, please.
The second my little toes did like this, and I was like, oh, it's wearing off. Oh God! I was like, give me another nerve block. This is horrible. And then my wife's like, oh, they basically gave me an epidural. Like, if you couldn't add insult to injury in any way, you just did it. Like,
oh, yeah,
basically you're telling me this,
like an epidural.
like, yeah, that's like an epidural. I did that.
Yeah, so no big deal.
Oh,
sorry. Yes. Okay. So it's about bedtime, fellas. I'm gonna have to cut it.
Oh, you're good.
But yeah, man. It just having that in the back of your mind, that your wife she got you like that.
Yeah.
It makes you want to be that much more of a man, and that much more involved. And that's where the whole dad spike thing comes in. It's not. I wouldn't be able to do this without her, And so.
Yeah. It's a team, man. It's all about being a team.
Sure. Yeah.
And it's good to give your wife the credit, because we do. I mean, we get to that a lot. Like I couldn't do what I'm doing without my wife. Like she's like you said, she's like the heart, and she takes care of me. I'll be honest. I mean, without her around, I'd be in trouble.
Oh yeah, for sure, dude. For sure. Yeah, for sure. I couldn't be more blessed, man, to be a father and to have kids that love me, and then to get to bond with fathers like you guys, man. Like I definitely hope we can do this again soon, man.
We'll
definitely have you guys on mine.
Yeah, 100%. We will be on yours no matter.
We're on 100%.
Whenever you want to do it. Before you go take care of your kids, let everyone know how to find you, where to follow you at. Give yourself a little shout out.
Yeah. Again, come here. Yeah, help me out. So #dadswag.com. And it's just spelled out. And then you find me also. That's Facebook #dadswag. And then Dadswag Podcast on Instagram. And then #dadswag, everything, clothing line, etc. So the only thing that's different is the Instagram. Somebody had #dadswag as their Instagram handle, and they had like one fan on there. I was like, all right. I think I messaged him and said, let me buy this domain name from you for $50. And he never contacted me. So I was like, this is the next best thing. So,
that's all good.
Hey,
but I appreciate you guys so much, man.
Wow. Thanks so much for coming on. Thank you. We will do it again, whether it's definitely on your show, and then we'll have you come back on ours too. Most be good. Brother. Get that leg better.
Yeah, thanks,
man. Just be careful with that left hook from that little one.
Yeah, right. All right, you guys be good, man.
All right,
yeah,
man.
dude.
I appreciate it.
All right, brother. All right.
Take care, guys.
Hey, guys, if you love what you just heard or watched, and we know you did, do us a solid and hit that thumbs up. Share with your friends and throw us a comment, literally about anything. Your support legit keeps us going. Oh, and don't forget to give us that 5-star rating. We really appreciate you.